These are the faces of resilient people whose lives are inexorably linked to the sea. Along these waters, they have found a home, a place where sky, land, and sea melt into one breathtaking wonder that is Xiamen. Like the ebb and flow of the tides, they willfully submit to the cycle of life. Theirs is an inspiring story about people and the environment. This is the Xiamen Story. Xiamen is a bustling coastal community in China located south of the Fujian province and west of the Taiwan Strait. With a land area of 1,565 square kilometers and a sea area of 390 square kilometers, Xiamen consists of the Xiamen Island proper, the Gulangyu Islet, and the northern bank of the Julong River. Inhabited mostly by Xiamen-born Chinese, the municipality's population reached 1.4 million in 2003 and is expected to balloon to 2.2 million in 2010. Xiamen is a fusion of the ancient and the modern. Amidst its contemporary buildings and structures lay historical evidences that echo its rather tumultuous but colorful past. Xiamen's administrative history began in the 3rd century AD when the Xijin dynasty set up the Tong'an County in the year 282 AD. In the late 14th century, the Ming dynasty established a bastion of defense and named it Xiamen City. Known as Amoy to the earlier generations of Westerners, Xiamen has had a long history as a port city. After the Opium Wars, it became one of the first treaty ports to be opened to foreign trade and settlement, following the Treaty of Nanjing in 1842. Xiamen's coastal waters include the West Sea, South Sea, East Sea, and Tong'an Bay, creating a 234-kilometer coastline. Found in these waters is the white dolphin and the egret, the symbol of Xiamen. Within Xiamen's shores is a wealth of marine species and aquatic resources that provide food, medicine, and livelihood to this growing population. Fisheries and mariculture are the two major sources of income in this medium-sized coastal city. Other coastal activities include port development, international trade, light and heavy manufacturing industries, coastal construction, beach reclamation, and tourism. During the 70s, the wetlands of Malawan Bay were converted into rice fields to increase food production. The mouth of Yundang Lake was closed, which later became a man-made lake. Xiamen's economic development gained momentum in the 80s when the State Council of China declared it one of the 5 special economic zones. Along with a vision of building Xiamen into a modern, international, maritime scenic city, came the rapid entry of industrialization and urbanization. From 1980 to 1993, Xiamen's economy grew by an annual rate of more than 20%. By the early 90s, the gross domestic product of Xiamen reached an estimated 13 billion yuan, about 8 times higher than in 1980. Throughout this period, fish production grew to as much as 42,000 tons in 1993. Recognized as a viable economic activity, mariculture practices expanded, covering up to 60% of the designated culture areas. Alongside such developments came the expansion of Xiamen's port facilities. The Xiamen port has geographical advantages, located along significant economic and trade routes. With the completion of the second phase of the Dongdu port and the operation of 66 berths, Xiamen's port handling capacity reached 11.4 million tons and became one of the 10 largest ports in mainland China. Xiamen's economy grew as its trade and manufacturing industries began to take root. Beach reclamation, coastal construction, sand quarrying and real estate development likewise found their way into Xiamen's development plans. Xiamen's people embraced the benefits of rapid development, but were confronted with the environmental hazards that came along with these economic activities. The intensive economic development that took place from the 80s to the early 90s put much pressure on Xiamen's environment. Massive mariculture activities polluted the waters and affected navigational safety. Extensive shipping and port activities raised the incidences of sea accidents, and oil spills aggravated the declining environmental quality. Industrial and urban effluent discharges contributed to water pollution and food contamination and affected residents' health. Beach reclamation and causeway construction reduced and segmented Xiamen's coastal water area. Sand quarrying and unregulated construction caused erosion and siltation, induced shoreline retreat and damaged coastal infrastructures and ecosystems. And rubbish from recreational and tourist facilities littered the shores and offshore waters, upsetting the overall sanitation of the municipality. These activities, compounded with population explosion and economic development, drastically changed Xiamen's biological community structure and natural habitats. The number of white dolphins and egrets declined at an alarming rate. Xiamen turned into one of the most environmentally challenged coastal municipalities in China.
It was very bleak and desolate here 20 years ago. This bridge hadn't been built. The smell was heavy and disgusting, and the air was corrosive. I had to replace my television and refrigerator every several years. Moreover, there were many mosquitoes, and we had to hang mosquito nets to help us sleep.
The municipality's dying environment made the people realize the limitations of their coastal management system. They found that Xiamen's sectoral agencies from the central, provincial, and local governments were independently engaged in their own functions without integrated planning and coordination, resulting in fragmented policy making and multiple-use conflicts of coastal resources. Such management problems brought to light the need for a more integrated, holistic, and dynamic coastal management approach. Ultimately, the challenge was how to effectively address Xiamen's growing environmental threats while maintaining its economic progress. In 1994, Xiamen's municipal government, together with a regional program for the prevention and management of marine pollution in the East Asian seas, embarked on the Xiamen Demonstration Project.
The objective of our activities is to find a good example of how to attain sustainable development. Many people mention sustainable development but do not understand what it is, so we've been exploring for a long time. Under the support of UNDP and GEF, we finally chose Xiamen City as the first ICM demonstration site in China.
As a natural resource and environmental management system, the Integrated Coastal Management System, or ICM, employs multi-sectoral and multidisciplinary approaches in addressing complex management issues in coastal areas. With the Xiamen Municipal Government as the lead implementing agency and the Marine Management Division as the operational arm, this project endeavored to build Xiamen's capacity to apply the ICM system.
Our sectoral agencies were independently engaged in their own functions, without integrated planning and coordination. So based on it, the Xiamen Municipal Government established the Marine Administrative Office, which involves each functional division to perform the function of integrated management and comprehensive coordination.
The municipal government undertook capacity-building initiatives to strengthen its planning and management capability. The Marine Management Coordination Steering Group, chaired by the Vice Mayor, was also established. This executive committee became the institutional mechanism for interagency consultation, coordination, and review of major coastal projects. The group took charge of planning, developing, constructing, and managing Xiamen's coastal zone. Environmental quality monitoring programs were also developed as part of this new management mechanism. ICM was the radical solution Xiamen was looking for. It brought an assurance of sustainable development and a better life for the people.
We think that ICM has made coastal management more integrated and science-based. In the past, the municipal government formulated administrative regulations on coastal waters and islands. However, with the overlapping marine management agencies, these regulations were not effectively implemented. This is why the quality of the marine environment worsened in recent years. We believe that ICM has pointed us towards the right direction.
After a series of consultations with various agencies and experts, a strategic management plan was created, which included arrangements for the implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of the plan itself. A vital component of the plan was the adoption of a functional zoning scheme. Xiamen's marine waters were classified according to priority of use and divided into specific zones for fisheries and mariculture, port and shipping, coastal industry, ocean engineering, mining, environmental conservation and rehabilitation, and tourism. This functional zoning scheme helped reduce multiple use conflicts, especially in the West Sea, an important habitat of the white dolphin and where shipping and port activities were dominant. Recognizing the futility in eliminating navigation in the West Sea, the scheme resolved this conflict by designating a protected area and enforcing regulations to protect the white dolphin. The scheme served as an effective means of maximizing the use of Xiamen's sea space and natural resources without affecting the functional integrity of its ecosystems. This newly formed collaborative arrangement, encouraged by a strong political will, produced a unified force found in a local leadership capable of effectively coordinating and regulating marine uses, enforcing proper sanctions, and addressing environmental concerns. Time and energy were optimized as laws, policies, and programs were harmonized so that efforts complemented rather than duplicated each other. Endowed by the National People's Council, Xiamen maximized its autonomy to draft its own laws and regulations for its marine areas. The municipality integrated policy enforcement through a centralized mechanism. The effectiveness of Xiamen's marine laws and policies was strengthened through the leadership of the Xiamen Marine Administrative Office and the Marine Supervision Brigade. Bringing Xiamen's environment back to life was like picking up broken pieces of precious porcelain, or so it seemed to the people of Xiamen, whose collective efforts bore fruits of environmental healing. Such efforts came in the form of improved sewage treatment facilities, enhanced drainage systems, lagoon cleanup projects, and beach and mangrove rehabilitation programs. Gradually, Xiamen's ailing environment was nursed back to health. Xiamen's biodiversity was safeguarded through the establishment of nature reserves and regulatory measures such as the regulation of ship cruising speeds in ecologically sensitive areas, and prohibition of underwater explosions and other activities that could disturb natural habitats, among many others. Finally, the formerly threatened white dolphin, the egret, and other species were once again free to flourish in the waters of Xiamen. Xiamen's notable wealth in scientific and technical knowledge strengthened its ICM efforts. The presence of a number of academic and scientific institutions such as the Xiamen University, the Third Institute of Oceanography, and Provincial Ocean and Fishery Institutes enabled Xiamen to build its skills and knowledge base in the field of marine and coastal environments. The profusion of case studies, scientific papers, and research data were fully utilized by concerned agencies in the protection and management of marine and coastal resources. Scientists also acted as a bridge between the government and the local community in terms of translating scientific research into practical and workable concepts.
Coastal management should rely on science. There should be a productive relationship between scientists and administrators. Our marine experts constantly communicate with the vice mayor. Such open communication allows us scientists to learn about current management problems and how our research can help. And in turn, administrators can learn more about the scientific and technical issues that should be addressed.
The Coastal Sustainable Development Training Center, designated as the PEMSEA Regional Center for ICM, was jointly set up by the Xiamen Municipal Government, State Oceanic Administration, and Xiamen University. The center conducted a series of training courses which significantly increased the awareness and technical know-how of policymakers, managers, and practitioners on sustainable development. One of the key elements of Xiamen's success in ICM was its public awareness program. The Community-Based Conservation Management Program, sponsored by the Canadian International Development Agency, effectively promoted awareness on sustainable development. Through environmental campaigns and information drives that made use of appealing communication materials, Xiamen's community developed a hands-on approach to its own environmental issues. Such public involvement gave birth to a network of professional monitoring, public surveillance systems, and reporting on the marine environment. Sources of sustainable and reliable funding paved the way for long-term implementation of ICM and the general stability of Xiamen's economy. Fueling Xiamen's ICM initiatives were various financing mechanisms that came in the form of international loans, donations, environmental grants, foreign investments, and domestic private capital. The municipality's improved environmental quality also attracted investments and promoted economic development. Soon enough, Xiamen came to be considered as one of the cleanest and most livable cities in China that also boasted the nation's highest GDP. With a prosperous economy, advanced science and education, effective legal system, high standard of living and clean environment, Xiamen became a good example of an equitable relationship between economic growth and sustainable environmental development.
Yundang Lake has improved a lot after being effectively managed for 10 years. Real estate value has increased tenfold due to the improved environment.
Piped water used to cost over 1 yuan per ton. Then after the restoration of Yundang Lake, it increased to over 2 yuan per ton. But we citizens gladly accept this increase because we are willing to pay a price for our improved environment.
For its efforts in ICM, the Xiamen municipality was proudly recognized as National Model City for Environmental Protection, National Sanitary City, National Garden City, Excellent National Tourist City, and was given a UN Habitat Award. Behind all these successes was the courage of a united people, determined to fight the battles of environmental degradation and win with a thriving economy to boot. Today, the story of Xiamen's ICM success continues. It lives on for others to emulate. It is a story told through the whispers of a fresh breeze, the gurgles of clean rivers and lakes, the steady drone of a productive and dynamic city. And through the smiles of happy, healthy people who carry with them the treasure of a sustainable future.
让